Good afternoon or morning, depending wherever you are and when you're watching this. This is Dan with the Designer Show on with John Schrader. How you doing, John? How's everything? How's everything up in northern Minnesota today?
It's cloudy today.
Cloudy. Yeah. Cool. Is it warm though?
I think so.
John's up in the Bemidji areas, just a couple minutes from the headwaters of the Mississippi. Yep. The most beautiful area that you'd ever want to see. It really is cool. Anyway, today, and I'm Dan Baumann. I'm in Minnesota, Minneapolis. Today we're going to talk about design agreements. So I appreciate you guys being on the show. Got a few people. We got Blake. The video you did last week with Vicky was awesome. Thanks, Blake. I really appreciate hearing that kind of stuff because, you know, we do these things and, you know, it's a fair amount of work goes into it. It's really nice to know that people are watching and learning and getting some things out of it. Mm-hmm. Hi, Alex, and hi, Laura. Alex, I saw that you gave me a link before. I'll go check that out in just a minute. We got Mary here. Hey, Mary, how are you? Been a long time no see. Looking forward to the show. Need to refine my agreements. Looking for ideas. Hopefully we'll be able to pass on some good things today. Hey, Mike. But send out an estimate today, so this is great timing. All right, cool, Mike. Hey, Jeffrey, how are you? All right, so there you go. So as you can see, you guys can add things into our stream here. So when you have questions, and we'd like this to be kind of interactive, and I kind of mentioned this to be a town hall, an open discussion, an open forum, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, it seems like with everything going on right now, town hall sounds kind of like a neat idea. So what we want to do is talk about design agreements. And one of the main things I want to talk about, and actually I'd kind of like to know if you guys are using design agreements or not. So if you're not using agreement, if you're doing everything by handshake, why don't you type that in there? I'd love to know that and actually know how that's going for you. John, do you use a design agreement?
Nope. I'll be on the handshake side of things.
Okay. Yep. There you go.
But the more people I talk to and the more I get involved in people's designs, the more important it is.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason that design agreements become really important, and I don't think you have to have a really super duper fancy, attorney driven design agreement. But what you do want to have is some sort of agreement in writing as to what you're going to do and as to what you're not going to do. So I think that's where the design agreement comes into play. So if you just got a little bathroom remodel to do and you tell someone, I'm going to do that for $300, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, and this is what we do. Yeah, maybe not such a big deal. Maybe a handshake's just fine. Now you're going to get into a really large project where you've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got massive amounts of estimate or measuring to do. And you've got to, you might run into a client that can't decide, can't make up their mind, and they might want to change. John, I know this has never happened to you, but a client can't decide on things. And so you end up spending a lot of extra time working on a plan.
Right.
That's never happened to you.
Right. And in reality, if I'm only working with one or two, for the year, that I'm actually helping them with their design because it's for my construction, that might be okay. But if I start working with, 2 or 3 or 4 a month, then I got to come up with a system, and that's to me that's what the design agreement is about. It's communicating what my system is to the client. Yeah.
So sorry, I'm kind of when I do these messages here, it's like I'm kind of half listening. So, kind of the old multitasking thing. You know how that goes. Well, all right. So so I want to go through a few different things, but I'm going to start out with in my email, I had mentioned, hey, if you have a good design agreement you'd like to share, please send it to me, and I'd love to look at it. Well, lo and behold, Bill Murray did send me his design agreement. And what I want to do is show that to you. And Bill has agreed to come onto the show and talk with us. So let's get into that agreement right here. Bill, I'm going to bring you into the stream here. Bill, could you tell everybody a little bit about what you do and how long you've been doing it? And welcome to our show.
Sure. I spent a lot of time watching your show. This is an unusual position for me.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Actually, I started building back in 1975, and I started designing my
When I
own.
got out of high school.
Oh, is that right?
That's when I went into high school.
Oh. So I started designing my own product when in '93 when Chief Architect first came out. I tried all of the CAD programs at the time, and lo and behold, Chief Architect was the most intuitive and the easiest for me to get started with, and I've been with them ever since. I'm using X12 now. I retired from the building business in 2008 in that massive collapse when we were building 2 million homes a year in the U.S. and we dropped to 300,000 homes.
I know. Wasn't that fun?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I said, this is my time to retire. And I did. And I didn't like retirement. So I came back to designing about 3 years later. And I've been designing only ever since.
And how busy are you today?
Well, actually, I just finished up a set of plans. I don't have anybody in the waiting list right now. I have a couple of leads, but I don't have any signed contracts right now. And I've been doing a little rendering for folks that brings in a little bit of money here in the last couple of weeks.
Cool. And that keeps you out of trouble too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've met a lot of guys that have retired, or not just guys, but gals too, women, and that have retired from officially working, and they got into chief architect to, do something to do. I know one guy I talked to, it's like, hell, he was working 60 hours a week.
Yeah, well, that's me when I have a client, which is most of the time. I do about 10 or 15 a year.
Nice.
That's about it.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Well, let's talk a little bit about this agreement that you sent me, because I think it's really good. And then I want to get Bill on first here so he could talk about this. And then I'm going to talk about a few different agreements and different types of agreements. And you notice we're using the word agreement here. We're not going to use the word contract. All right. So whenever you hear the word contract, how do you feel? You're kind of like, oh shit, lawyers are going to come and get me, and I'm going to put my life on the line. But when we say agreement, it's like, okay, we're just agreeing on something. And that's really what we're talking about anyway, is we just want to have an agreement. We want to put it in writing. When I was contracting, I was contracting for 20 years. And early on, I learned this little saying, I think from Jim Rohn or someone, I don't remember who it was. But he said, trust everyone, but cut the cards. Okay. So to me, what that meant was put it in writing and have everybody put their John Hancock on it so that we all could agree on what we were doing, and we could look at it and say, oh yeah, that's what we're doing. And then later on in the project, when there's, people are coming up with, what are we talking about? What we're supposed to be doing? Well, you go back to the original document and look at it. So that's really what we're after here. Get it in writing somehow. Whether you write it on a napkin, I don't care. Just get it in writing. All right. So, Bill, let's just get into your agreement. Let me bring that up onto the screen. And then you have some things that maybe you can share. We can try. So let me share my screen here. And this agreement that we're about to look at, tell me a little bit about this. Where did that come from?
The kernel of this agreement comes from the AIBD. I hope most of the folks listening are members of the AIBD if they're involved in the United States here. And they offer a lot of resources, and this is one of them. However, I will say that the AIBD agreement that they have on file that you can download if you're a member. You don't have to pay anything for it. If you're not a member, you do have to pay something.
Okay.
I will say that what they have is very minimal, and I developed this agreement on the basis of that kernel that they provided.
Okay. How long ago did you do that?
Say that again.
How long ago did you do that?
Probably about 4 years ago. I've updated it throughout the years.
Oh, okay.
4 or 5 years ago. This is a cover page that you're looking at now. It's not necessary. I just think it adds a lot to the agreement to have a nice cover page.
Well, you know that logo, the AIBD logo,
Right.
okay, that really makes it official.
That's right.
You know, it really does. It's really cool. So that's the first thing I noticed when I opened this. I go, oh, look at that. That's really cool. It's a sanctioned agreement. You know, it's sanctioned by an association.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, and I really like that. Here, let me just show this real quick. So this is AIBD's website, American Institute of Building Design. I see they still love doing lots of different menus. So, you know, guys, check into it. If you're in the design business and you're at all looking to get your designation, Bill, do you have your AIBD designation?
Well, the designation is Certified Building Professional.
Okay.
I've been a member of the AIBD for a long time, and unfortunately, I never really was interested in that designation. However, I am more interested now, and I am certified to take the test. You have to be certified in order to take the test.
I know the test's pretty.
I have not taken it yet.
I know it's quite a test. So, but anyway, I'm not going to get into what AIBD is all about right now. And I know if Carl's on the call, he likes to get on here now and then. And Carl Koenig likes to talk about AIBD. He's been a member for a long time. I was a member for a while, but I didn't do anything with it. So it's kind of like, okay, well, why should I, pay if I'm not going to use it? So if you do become a member, use it. There's a lot of great information. There are a lot of great people. It's really a nice association. And they have a store where you could probably get this design agreement. All right, but let's get into that design agreement now. I have not been here. I don't know what they have, so you're on your own. All right, so you got you got this agreement. You took it and then you customized it yourself.
Right.
All right, so let's just kind of run through what you did.
Okay, on the first page, it's just the essentials, who you're dealing with, and their email, their phone numbers. Article 1 is fairly important, I think. And Article 1 is the authority of the client to engage me to design a house on a piece of property. They've got to have some financial interest in the property, or as owner or co-owner.
Cool.
And also,
and to be perfectly honest, you just sent me this a little while ago, so I have not read it yet. But I just love the format that you had. And I'm going to say right now, okay, I talked to Bill about this already. If you want to get a copy of this, you can. However, what you have to do first is go to AIBD and buy theirs, because I'm not going to give out something like this that has their logo on it. And Bill agrees with this. So if you do that and you send me a receipt that you did purchase the AIBD and you're a legal, agreement holder of that, we'll be happy. Bill said he'd be happy that we could send this to you. So, Bill, that's really generous of you, and I really appreciate that. So that's cool. So, because I know everybody's thinking here, God, can I get a copy of that? Get a copy of that. That's how you get a copy of it. No charge. At least today. Maybe someday Bill will say, yeah, you got to pay for this sucker.
I don't even have my copyright on it. I just remember that I usually copyright everything I do. But
well, maybe we should do that before we give that to anybody, just to cover yourself. And there's another agreement that we would want people that Bill would want people to sign, that he's not an attorney. This is, you're on your own if you use something like this, or use anybody's agreement. You're on your own. So, okay, let's just keep going through this. So you've got, the authority to enter an agreement. That's pretty straightforward. Then you got accuracy plans. I really like this one. I suppose basically what does it say? You're going to do the best you can, but you're not God, and you're not going to be perfect. Is that kind of what all this says?
Yeah, basically, it's what the client supplies to me that I can rely on the accuracy of what the client supplies.
Yeah.
That being the legal description of the building site, the correct and current survey, subdivision covenants and agreements, building restrictions, etc.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this is the information you get from the owner, and if it's only as good as, it's garbage in, garbage out, is basically the bottom line. Definition of the designer's basic service. So this is what you're going to do for them.
Yeah, this is my basic service. I can do a lot more, and that's one thing I like about Chief Architect. You can sell off of the rendering and some other issues.
Oh yeah.
Elements of the program. So this is what I do as a basic plan at my lowest price.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So, and I've talked about that in the past too, about your services that you offer your clients, that, it's kind of like the products on a store shelf. What products are you going to stock your shelves with? Are you going to do as-built? You're going to do research on the project. You're going to, on and on and on. And so this kind of clarifies what some of those services might be.
Right. And here you're also describing step by step what your system or what your process is.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, fairly straightforward. No legalese, which is what I love. No therefores or thereouts thous or whatever you call that stuff. So it's plain English. Very nice. Designers have no control over construction sequences. Okay, so that you're taking yourself out of the construction process as an independent designer, unless you're offering that service.
Exactly.
So, which I know a lot of people do. John, are you able to see the comments that people are making?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me when I should bring some up? I don't think you can do it, can you?
I can't do it, but
okay. So tell me when I should click on one, because I'm kind of watching this agreement and talking.
Right now, they're ones that we can bring up after.
Okay. Perfect.
Done with this.
Perfect. And by God, keep commenting, you guys. This is awesome.
Yep,
promotional materials, copyright. A lot of people have questions about copyright. What's your take on copyright, Bill?
I think it's pretty simple. I own the copyright to the plans.
Okay.
I designed it. I own the copyright, and I will sell the copyright for $15,000.
Oh, nice. Have you ever had anybody take you up on that?
No.
Damn. Well, it's nice that you lay it out, though, and then that gives you the right to reserve it. And I just actually had that happen with a client. I was working for a contractor, and I let him use my template, and on there we had a copyright. This plan's owned by the contractor, and the homeowner decided they wanted to get some other pricing from other contractors, because there was just so much going on with this project. It was a long story, but it was nothing bad. It's just one of those things. And I was still owed a little money on it, and she before she could have the plan, she had to pay up, and it worked out perfect. So, and it does work. So here's how you're going to get paid, huh?
Yeah, that's an important part of the agreement, don't you think?
Oh, well, you like it to get paid? That's what we do this for, right? No. We just do this because it's fun, right? We love playing with Chief Architect. Right. No, you like, John?
Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah, it is kind of like a game, but it is a nice game that we want to get paid for. So this is good. It's a pretty straightforward little. You can put in at different stages of the project when you get paid.
Well, yeah, that's actually, I think we went past that. Maybe not. No,
I don't think so.
Later, yes. These other services are optional above the amount of the basic fee, which is the first line up there, and then the other services have. I have actually a fee sheet that
separate.
has my fees on it, separate
from this. Okay.
Right, and so all of those things are priced. I find that all of my clients are like, if you go back up to where we were, all of my clients like that basic interactive 3D cloud model that Chief has allowed us to use over the last couple of years.
That is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So you charge a little extra for that?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
$350 for that.
Nice. There's a product on your shelf. Bam. I like it.
a lot of people don't need a plat plan, so I price that separately.
That's good. Yep. Yep. So you guys on the call,
And do you,
are you
with the
guys charging, let me just say, you guys charging a flat fee? You guys charge by the hour? You charge a square foot? I'd love to hear what you guys are doing. So if you type in a comment, that'd be great. I'm sorry, who is that, you, John?
yeah, it was me. Some plot plans need to have all the elevations and stuff like that. Some of them just need to have the boundaries. I assume you
Right.
have a different price for what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
when do you establish that? I assume you establish that right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess there's going to be a lot of, if you have a good survey or not, or if you have to get a new survey. I mean, there's all those things that go into it. Client's been made aware that the compensation affects, so there's more of that. So we're not going to get into every little detail here, but
I
so-
take third. Well, first retainer at signing,
okay.
and then the way I handle the scope of work is once we get the footprint and the roof planes, that's called a lock-in. And once the client locks in the roof planes and the footprint, any changes will be billed at $125 an hour.
Okay.
So I get a payment of 1/3 payment at that point. And then the final payment is on final construction documents.
Cool. Vicky, I just saw a question flash by. Vicky said, please don't mention actual prices. It's against antitrust laws. Vicky, I've heard that in the past. I've heard that's part of the AIA thing. Architects can't do that. We don't have to get into it right now. I'm not a member of AIA. I never have been, never will be. Why? I'm just going to leave it at why. Why would we not talk about prices? I've done that for years.
So Bill, how do you handle?
Sorry. Go ahead, John.
How do you handle the client that before you have your footprint and your roof planes locked down, try to take you in 3 or 4 different directions, and it's taken 3 or 4 times the amount of time you figured it would take? How do you handle that?
Well, fortunately, I've never really had to. In my fee sheet, I have a certain number of hours allocated to each stage.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go past those hours, then I charge them $125 per hour. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to mention that.
No, that's all right. I think you. I mean, pricing for what we do ranges from $30 to $500 an hour.
Right.
Okay, we're talking about price, and it's just like it's just one of those things that you price, you get whatever you can, basically.
Yeah, I recently did a survey of designers and architects in my area, and the per hour charges range from $100 to $250.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty typical. That's pretty typical. And I've talked about that in other seminars that presentations that I've done. So you got what's called the failure to make timely payment. So do you give the client your plan before the final payment's done?
I sign my plans, and I have a disclaimer on the plans that they're not to be used or printed until my signature is on the plan.
Okay.
And no, I do not. Well, I give them
That's really a good idea, actually. I like that.
Okay. I give them, obviously I have to give them PDF copies in order for them to approve.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when they do pay, I put my signature on and let it be known on the plans that they may be produced for one build only.
That makes sense. Of course, if it's a remodeling project, that's probably going to be the case anyway. But if it's a new home, yeah, they could change a couple walls and use it again. Scope of agreement, arbitration. If something comes up, have you ever had to enter into any arbitration with anybody?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Me neither.
I did when I was a builder.
Oh.
I had a 35-year building career, and I had 4 arbitrations. I won all 4.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Cool. You must have had Michael Stone on your side.
that's right.
Designers claim mechanics lien. Okay. Do you offer a lien? I suppose you would in certain cases.
I
Lien waiver.
tell them that I can put a mechanics lien on their property. I've never had to, never done it.
I know some states they require to have a separate lien waiver agreement that says, hey, we I'm giving you notice that we can file a lien on your house if you don't pay us. If you don't do that, you don't have any rights to file a lien. Right. So I've heard that many times. I don't know if that's
one of those states.
Yeah, is that nationally or is that by state by state?
As far as I understand,
it's
by
state by state. Okay. Reproduction. You make copies of it. Okay, is that valid?
Severability is a very important clause. What it says is if any provision in the agreement is found to be illegal or unenforceable, it doesn't negate the whole contract or the whole agreement.
So, no, that's cool. No, this is really nice. And that's assignment, transfer the agreement without consent, confidentiality, consultant agent. This is just really good language. I really like this, Bill. Nice job. Contractor, liability, you're yelling that one out at him.
Yeah, I like that clause right there, limit of liability.
Yeah, yeah.
The insurance companies like it too.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sure. And then you get your everybody signed. Everybody approves the agreement. Okay. Never say sign the agreement. Here, we need you to approve the agreement. Okay. People don't want to sign a contract, but they'll approve an agreement. So there you go. Bill, this is awesome, man. So you had mentioned to me that you also like to do some disclaimers on your plans.
Yes.
Should we try to bring your screen up again? See if we can get that to work.
Does that work?
I don't know. Let me close off my screen. Oh yeah, there your screen is. Cool. Let's add that to the stream. So can you zoom in on that a little bit more? Are you in PDF here?
Right. Yeah, I can.
Okay, that'd be great. And we'll start looking at some of these questions a bit. And then what I'd like to do after this is talk about an agreement that I've used for many years that I call kind of an educational agreement. So these are some notes that you have on your cover sheet.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one is what our design responsibilities are and what they aren't. Basically, we're not an engineering firm, so we're responsible for the architectural design only.
Okay.
Is what that says. And then there's.
Can you roll on it? Can you roll in on that just a little bit more?
Sure.
Or zoom in on that just a tad more. There we go. Perfect. Oops, that's too much. We still see the whole thing, but just not the sides. Yeah, that's probably good enough.
So let me move this over a little bit. Well, it's not working. Anyway.
Here's what I'll do. I'll just make that full screen and then people can see it better. Now you can zoom out a little bit.
There you go.
There we go. Perfect.
So what I do with paragraph 3 is I let the client know there may be, and not necessarily have to be, but there may be some engineering requirements, and they should hire a registered professional engineer to do that. And at the bottom of this, I mentioned that some of the, let's see here. Some of the engineering requirements might be soil testing, foundation design, and any required engineering design to accomplish structurally the architectural elements shown in the plans.
Okay, cool.
Specifications, basic dimensional lumber framing specifications are provided to builder design suited by the builder. And may appear in this document. My point there is I don't do specifications normally because of the way my business is set up, but most designers probably do include the specifications.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. I've
Yeah, okay.
never been. That's just never been one of my things. I mean,
Well,
it can, but
I did when I was a builder, but
yeah,
I don't do it anymore. And then user skill required to read these plans. I think this is important. Any user of this plan must be qualified and have the skill and ability to
yeah.
read residential construction
You
plans.
told me about that. I thought that's really a good statement because, like you mentioned, someone it might be a DIY person and they don't understand what you're talking about in your plan, so they build it wrong or they order it wrong. Yeah, and they blame you for not making it clearer, right?
Right.
Even though you're using standard construction terms,
Well,
makes sense.
let me say that I have all of this, but I've never really had to use it. But it's there, and maybe that's why I've never had.
That's probably why you've never had to use it. One thing I like to add on my plans is a little statement that says, here, let me bring up a layout here. What do I got? Do I have one? It just basically says all 3D, all 2D, 3D views are, John, do you remember what it said? I don't, here, I can open up a layout. Give me 1 second.
I've got it on mine. Hold on.
Do you?
Yeah. Renderings are conceptual and not to be used for construction. They may show colors, materials, features, and details not shown in the specification.
Yeah.
Or construction document.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And here, I'm going to turn your screen off for a second, or turn mine on. So this is what I like to say on mine. 3D views are not to scale, may not reflect exactly what's available for the project. Render views are representations of what the view could look like, not what it will look like. 2D views always supersede 3D. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, same kind of thing you were saying. And part of the reason I added that is a story I heard about a contractor that was installing the kitchen cabinets, and the homeowner comes out with this printout of a colored printout of a rendering, and said, "Hey, those cabinets don't match your picture here." So he had to replace cabinets.
No.
Yeah. Oops. So anyway, so there you go. So it's it's always something. All right. So very cool. Very cool. Let's go look at some of the comments that people have been making, and then I want to talk about a different agreement that I put together. Bill, you're welcome to just stay on the call if you like. This has been fun. It's a very detailed proposal. That's separate detailed contract based on the AIA. And that's a whole different, AIA. I've looked at the AIA contracts and they are very, very detailed. In fact, I have something here. See, was my screen still showing? Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can find what I was thinking about. I had it open before, but I closed it. Hang on. All right. The AIA is a very detailed contract, and it is. I think they do say it's a contract, not an agreement. It's more. I don't know, Bill. John, would you say it's more commercial driven for commercial type projects versus residential? It can work for both.
I've never seen it.
Okay. I don't have one, but I do have something that talks. Where'd it go?
You want to comment on that, Jason?
Yeah, Jason, if you have some comments, that'd be great. Here, I think it's this one. This was put out by, this is kind of interesting. I found this online. And by the way, guys, just go Google design agreements and poof, you'll have more stuff than you can possibly consume in a day. Regency U of Michigan. I have no idea where I got this. I just found it in my folder full of design agreements. And it talks about a lot of different things. It gets into a lot more detail, construction costs, the drawings. So yeah, I mean, in fact, just go Google, I believe if you Google the Regents of University of Michigan design, what's it called? Agreement between owner and design. It's called the Agreement between owner and design professional. But if you just Google that, agreement between owner and design professional, you'll probably find this. If you want it, I'll send it to you too. But again, I know I'm zipping by here pretty quick. I just wanted to show This is going to be more what an AIA document is going to look like. It's going to have a lot of stuff in it. It's going to cover a lot of things. Let me turn it off.
So Jason says he was multitasking when I asked him to comment. So
Okay.
Jason, if you're paying attention now.
Attaboy. Let's see, did he answer?
The comment,
there he is.
what we want you to comment on is whether or not the AIA design agreement is commercially driven or residential or both. What your feeling is about that.
So guys, someone, Jeff, it looks like you commented you'd like to connect and you put your email in here. I'm not sure if you want other people to connect with you or you want to connect with us. Best way to send, if you want to connect with me, send dan@chiefexperts.com or just go to my website and sign up for my free handout and you'll be on my email list. But I think you're already on it, Jeff, so not a big deal.
I think he was actually responding to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Which is great too, if you guys can figure out how to connect with each other through
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what this is all about. So, so let's go back to some of these other questions. Schematic design, selections, construction documents. Very good. All right, Mary, way to go. He says it's like a game too. Yeah, isn't that true? That's why I kind of teach that in my classes. It's like, yeah, it's a best form of gaming that we can come up with as working professionals, and we get paid for it. So, yeah, I've had my all-nighters with this program, just like my kids. Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Do you have a fee sheet with all the services? So, Bill, do you have a fee sheet that you use?
I do. I can look for it here.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see what you got. And that, just pull up a document, start typing down all the different kinds of things that you do, and boy, those are the products that you sell.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and each of those things could have 4 or 5 different levels of detail that you put into it that changes the fee.
Mary does hourly, but yeah, I mean, hourly works. It's easy, it's safe. But if you can come up with a good base price thing that you use, well, let me bring us back up. I think you can make more money doing that if you can come up with a good system that works for that. A percentage, a base fee. I don't know. There's all sorts of different ways to do it. I do mine I charge by the hour because I don't do full plans for everybody. I do a lot of help coaching, 1 hour here, 1 hour there type of things. John, how do you do yours?
It depends,
Yeah.
Coaching, it's, how much time they think they're going to want to use.
By the hour, 95. Hourly for remodels, fee range for new construction, but based on estimates of hours. And again, fees on new home, I've seen as low as 35 cents a square foot for floor plans and some elevations in a very typical cross section, all the way up to, $7 a square foot. Depends on the project. So
I think part of what we're doing when we're talking about having a sheet that says this is what it's going to cost is we're breaking the price down for the customer so they can see why it costs so much.
Yeah.
I found my fee sheet, by the way, if you want to look at it.
Yeah, go ahead. You have it up there?
I'll bring it up.
There you go. If you could zoom in on that again, that'd be great. Oops.
Sure.
A little bit more. If you hold your control wheel down and hold control and scroll forward.
How's that?
A little too much. There you go. Perfect. Yep.
I can see it fine.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. There you go.
So basically, fee schedule, talk about basic service again, what you get. And I don't do hard copies because in our state, if you do hard copies, you have to have a retail sales permit.
What do you mean by hard copies?
Paper copies
Of the plans?
of the plans.
Oh, okay. So you send them strictly PDF. They have to print them themselves.
Right.
Got
Again,
it.
I don't want to collect tax for the state.
I just used a service 2 days ago called blueprintprinting.com. It was 75 cents for a 24 by 36 sheet.
Yeah,
Sent to
that's
you.
Oh,
good.
But there was a setup fee,
Oh,
and there was and of course there was shipping. It ended up being about $1.60 a sheet for four sets for 24 pages. So
our design, our graphics company charges $1.15 a sheet,
yeah, that's a great price.
black and white.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Mm.
here's the fees.
Oh, okay.
And then down here it tells you how many hours I put in at each stage.
Okay.
And what the site plan is. That's using the surveyor's CAD file, by the way.
mm-hmm.
And other, this kind of looks like nickel and diming, and I've just instituted this, and the first client I showed it to, I asked him, I said, "Does that look like nickel and diming to you?" And he said, "No, I understand."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kind of like buying a car, you know, all these options you get to choose from.
Right.
That's pretty straightforward. So this would be the kind of thing, again, people could, just sit down and type out what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there you go. Let's just keep rolling through this. Does anyone work off a retainer? Maybe, I don't know. Retainer. I do know guys that do that. We have it split in two phases. Phase one is the percentage of rough budget. 2 is percent of rough budget. I know some contractors that charge same thing when they're doing their bid, their plans. They got conceptual. They have what's the second part where you do more detail and then full blown working drawings. So they sell it in 3 stages, 3 steps. I think that's a good way to do it too. So you can bite off smaller chunks within the project, and after the conceptual design, you might decide that you're not a good fit for this customer, or the customer might say, no, it's not where I want to go. And so you might split your time, you might end your relationship, but you're still getting compensated for what you've done. So I think that's cool. See, Tim says, in charge of flat fee, half down, half upon completion. After your sabbatical, is getting back into design. Cool. Hourly not to exceed rate. Now, you don't have to do not to exceed, do you? Just do a rate. Whatever you're comfortable with. When I see stuff like that, hourly not to exceed, that's kind of, and I get it. I mean, it's a way that you can justify what you want to do without scaring the client. It's not it's.
But
oh shit! I totally lost my train of thought.
At the same time, though, if you're upfront with them, okay, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
We need to start making some decisions here. You could have that not to exceed rate in your back of your mind.
Yeah, it kind of that reminds me of if you build with us, we'll refund the design fee type of thing. I don't agree with that train of thought. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. Design is a vital, the most important part of the whole project, and you deserve to be compensated for that. Yeah. And, hey Ben, how you doing? Always get a retainer, third down, third upon approval, balance on completion. Yep. I like to get paid in advance. I offer my services in packages of 10 hours. So you buy 10 hours from me, and then we just use those up. You buy 10 more, we use those up. That works for me.
That's a good way to handle that not to exceed thing too.
Yeah,
Then the homeowner's in charge of that,
Wants to hear prices, Alex. Okay, Alex, you just get as much as you can. Isn't that the price? I know you don't like to hear that, but it really is true. I mean, there is no set baseline for what a set of plans cost. Not that I've been able to establish. It's AIBD. We have a statement at the beginning of every meeting. That's anything. Construction is price fixing. Okay, so that is a architect thing about the pricing. Fine payment, doing completion. How are we doing here? Okay, I want to jump into another agreement here. Setting fee scales. I like to hear what people are charging. Design agreements include A good place to go do that is head over to Chief Talk and ask the guys there what they're charging. Head over to our forum over at Chief Experts on Facebook. You can ask people there. There's other forums out there you can ask. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. Design agreement including selection process. That's another selection process is another one of those products on your shelf. So if you're going to do that, you got to charge for it. If it's a long-term project, I will bill for intermediate payments. Yeah. Sounds better than what I do. Watermarking, not for permit. Yeah, that's a really good one there. I like that. So when you're in Chief Architect, if you go to View, if you're on your layout page, so if I go to, or on your plan, so if you go to your layout, it's kind of a big one. It should come up.
You're not sharing your screen.
You got to show my screen, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn this off. Okay. I just finished printing 42 pages, so it's probably stuck in memory. There we go. So what you could do is go to View, Watermark, and turn the watermark on, which is, where'd it go? Oh yeah, see it came on now. And then if you want to edit that, that's
you can do it under the print.
That's right.
As well.
Where do I edit that? Under print?
Mm-hmm.
Right here?
Yep. And then under Chief Art, yeah, right there. Include watermark just below your cursor there. Options.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, and define the watermark. There it is. There's another place to, I think it's in preferences. You can do it too. So you can change what you want to say here. Don't use my plans or you'll pay the price, that kind of a thing. So that's a great way to do it too. So until your plans are done and paid for, you have a watermark on there that says not for construction. And it's pretty hard to argue with that. So that's a really nice feature in Chief that I like a lot. I do put that on. And I also like that on my plans so people don't, so the plan's half done, they start using them to do things. And it's like, then things happen. Who's liable for that? Well, I put on my plan that these are not for construction, so that takes the liability off you. So it's a good one. Jeff says the same thing. Very nice. That's a great one, Jeff. Michigan allows mechanic liens in Michigan as well. Where are you located? Okay, I'm in Minnesota. New comments. What are we doing on time? We got 12 minutes. Okay, cool.
I liked Jason's comment. He says, if I can find it now, he said, basically run your agreement past your insurance company.
It's a good idea.
Because then you don't have to pay an attorney for it. The insurance company's got the attorneys to do it. So
yeah. If you got a good,
their interest is your interest. So
if you got a good agent, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Laura says, I don't think that asking what others charge for should be an issue. It's nice to know what you are in line with others. Right. Yeah, I agree, Laura. I mean, that's what we're all here to learn. Fixed price. Yeah, there ain't none of us here going to be fixing any prices anywhere. I'm not too worried about that.
I just had another comment about prices. You really need to look at what other professionals are being paid for their professional services in your area. Because what somebody like myself is going to charge in New York City is going to be way different than what I'm going to charge in northern Minnesota.
Yeah.
True. If I can get somebody to even pay me for it in northern Minnesota, because most of the work's done on a napkin.
Yeah. Those areas that don't require an agreement or a permit, I mean.
Right.
All right. So where did I put there's one, let me bring my agreement up. All right. So here's an agreement that I developed over quite a long time ago. And I call it, more of an educational agreement. I'm the handshake kind of a guy. I'm kind of trusting. However, I do like to get everything in writing. And so what I would always do is I would have this agreement. So I do a lot of work for repeat customers. It's like, whatever. We don't need an agreement for that. And many of my customers pay me in advance. So I'm not too worried about it. Although there are some client times I really wish I'd have used my agreement. But I have used this quite a bit in the past. So basically, it was And what I mean by educational is just kind of, I'm going to tell them the process. Here's the process that we go through. We're going to use chief architect to draw your plans. We'll create full working drawings. Here's what you can do to help, get some written lists, notes, photos, get together with your family, budget, websites. Okay. So I'm just asking them to get involved in the design process because that's, I need them involved in the design process. It's their project, not mine. Creating the as-built drawing. I tell them what's going to happen with the as-built, and I'll explain to them. I'm going to come in, I'm going to measure your house. I might spend, I'll look at their project. I might spend 8 hours here measuring your entire house. And it's like, they go, oh, okay. I mean, I've never had a client that questioned me on that. And the bottom line is, I would explain to them, if I have a really good as-built, I can create a really good set of plans for you because I will know where everything is. I'll know how to make changes. It's going to save you a ton over the long run. So it really does pay off. Then I talk about the initial design concept, how we get going on that. And, so we're going to get in there. We're going to talk about ideas, move things around. I'll get on with Chief with you, and we'll get online, or we'll get in person. I used to go to the client's house and set up my projection screen, and we'd sit there and design for hours, and we'd have a ball doing that. So it's just a great way to do it. Then I talk about refining the plan, get more into how we're going to clean up the plan. Then what goes into the working drawings. And at this point, I'd pull out some drawings and I'd show them all the details that go into a set of drawings. Or I might bring something up on my website and do that. And then this is really important. This should be included in every agreement. What's not included? All right. Don't forget the what's not included. So, there's no engineering, no soil analysis, survey, outside designers, cost of prints. Okay. Make it clear what you're not going to be doing. And I think that's really important. The final financial investment, it's pretty basic. What I would do is I would put their name there, or my name here is what I would put. Complete the as-built drawings, and then I would list out what I was going to do. Okay, so I might say I'm going to do, measure the whole house, and I'm going to do this and that. So I would just kind of fill this out with basic things of what I'm going to do. You agree to pay an hourly rate of such and such, because this was a time material type an agreement. I could also just change that to a fixed number if I wanted to. You agree to pay the following: retainer of 10 hours, 20 hours, whatever it is up front. Payment of weekly invoices upon receipt. I would change that today to, when this time is up, we're going to ask for payment right away, because now, use credit cards or check by phone or something, you get it instantly. Estimate the project could be take between, there again, there's kind of that not to exceed kind of a thing, but I'm not really locking in a number here. I'm just saying, I think it might take 30 to 50 hours, something like that. So you just give them a range of what it might take, so that they can plan for it too, because they have to budget too, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. And that was the agreement I used for quite a number of projects, and it worked well for me. It really cleared the air about what was going to happen. No legalese. I like Bill's. I would add some of this stuff to Bill's agreement if I were going to do agreement here. So I think we just got a good mix there. All right, what do we got? More questions? Bill, you got anything you want to add?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I particularly like what's not included. There is some reference to that in my agreement, but not specifically what's not included. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's just, I used to do that in my remodeling proposals too. When I was back in my contracting days, I had a specific section that said what we're not going to be doing on your project, and it would cover some of these things too. Like, hey, if we find a hidden tank, oil tank, we're not, that's extra. So I had a pretty good list of things that were general items, and then, hey, we're not doing the painting, we're not doing the carpet, we're not supplying appliances, that kind of stuff. That's all, you're all on your own for that. So that kind of carried over into doing the design. So where are we at here? Mike says, never had a simple plain old design, so Chief has been a constant uphill learning curve. It is fun, isn't it, Bill? Isn't it, Mike? How long do folks spend on average on different phases of projects? John, you want to answer that one?
As built's anywhere from 4 to 12 hours, depending on the house. Could be more.
I did a house that took 8 days once.
Yeah.
It had 170 windows,
Yeah.
34 doors.
Yeah, it definitely depends on, I mean, a Rambler, 1970s Rambler takes less time than a 1920s 2-story with an attic, stuff like that. So the as-built takes a variety of hours.
Yeah.
And as far as the design goes, that depends on the customer.
It depends. There's so many variables
how well
involved.
they're able to communicate what they want and how well you're able to hear what they're wanting. And
then there's the how much time do you say it's going to take, and then how much time does it really take?
Exactly. And that was another thought about what you charge,
Yeah.
because you got to figure the time on either side of what you're actually charging for too.
Yeah. I mean,
Come
you
up
might
with your professional rate that you're going to charge.
be working with Chief and learning new things while you're designing, and it's like you can't really charge to learn. I suppose you could, but it doesn't seem fair.
I think the biggest thing for somebody like myself that started out as a carpenter, moved to a builder, subcontractor, and then a contractor, and now offering design services as well. I think the biggest thing for somebody like that is to understand that what you are offering as a designer is a professional. It's a profession, it's professional, and you have to think about what you're offering coming from the carpenter standpoint. You look at, well, how much am I worth per hour,
Yeah.
It's totally different than that.
If you guys want to carry on this conversation a little bit more, why don't you head over to Chief Experts Academy and just scroll down the bottom and join the Facebook, join our private Facebook group. If you're not already part of that, just click that link and apply to being part of the group. It's free, and you can, we'll approve you and get you in, and you can start the topic, and you'll get some good action there. Or head over to Chief Talk. They'll talk about there. There's lots of groups out there you can start asking these questions on. All right, a couple more quickies. We got 2 minutes left. Cut sheets, run their framing crew. Yeah, there's something that's cool.
Yeah, but that's gonna. I would be hesitant about which crews I would give that to, because they need to be wary enough about what's going on to spot your mistakes.
And Mike, I assume you're probably very proficient at what you're talking about with the roof cutting, and you're probably a seasoned carpenter that knows how to do all that stuff. So you're certainly qualified to do that.
At the same time, Dan, you're going to make mistakes. The model isn't going to match real world perfectly.
Right.
So whoever you're providing this to has to understand that this is something for you to check yourself.
Yeah.
But I agree. It's a great tool, to offer that, to at least get them going in the right direction.
Nice. Mike just said he typically goes on site, so he's out there with his plan, going over it with them. So that's great. Yeah. Rich, termination clause, Rich, that's a good one. That's a really good one. So thanks for bringing that up. So for any reason you guys want to split, go your own way, what are you going to do? Pay up and away you go. So that's really important, because that's one of the cool things about selling the design services separately from the design and contracting service all at once. You might be working with the client, and I've had guys tell me this, and I've had clients like this too that I would never want to build with. So we get through the design process and we just say, God, we're super busy, we can't do it right now. Or you just say, hey, we're just not interested. And just each of you go your separate ways. Maybe you give them the plans and away you go. So anyway, that's cool. Like the idea, what's not included. Cool. Way to go. Jay Martin, how are you, man? How common are lawsuits against home designers? I don't know. Anybody, either of you guys got any idea?
I don't.
I've never been involved with one. Probably not that common. If you're doing anything structural, make sure you have the truss plant or truss company or the lumberyard do all the calculations on the structural, or hire a structural engineer to stamp the plan. And so don't ever assume that how big a beam should be. always get a professional for that. That's going to be one of the big areas that you could run into lawsuits. So,
Right.
oops, we're just about done here. Scope of service starts taking more time than you thought. Communicate to the client and have them agree to additional charges. Yep, that's true. All right. Alex and Mike. So cool. Hey
The
guys.
clause down here, Vicky says, make sure you say you're entitled to payment for work you've already done.
Yeah. Bill, thanks again for being part of this, man. That was awesome. Great job on that agreement. Again, if you guys want that agreement, just go ahead, go to AIA and buy it, and then send me a receipt, and we'll forward that to you.
Well, thank you.
So that was great. John, thank you. And everybody on the call, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. This is it. This is Dan with the Designer Show signing off, and we'll see you next time. Guys, be good.